Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, friends. You're live with ChantalTV in Paris. It is, I forgot it. No, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, the 21st of April, day 36 in confinement. So the Paris lockdown is already 36 days going on. And today we have a guest again. So I see already people joining. There's Earl, bonjour, on on Periscope. We have Adam. Hi Adam, he's on YouTube. Let me just bring it up. Does it get popped up? Yes, there it is. It works. Hi Hel on YouTube. Hi Robert. Hi Chris, yay, P6, yay! She's already giving it away. Don't give it away yet. There we have Earl, we have Stacy, we have Declan, we have Anne, we have Taylor Chris. Oh my god, the next guest is so popular. And he already said hello in the top of the YouTube. He said hi. 1 second, you guys. Let me get all my buttons right. Hello Reese, bonjour. Hello Bronzer Wolf. Hello Kaleshi. Oh my god, it's so many people. So
people want to know what I look like. Yeah.
Let me introduce you guys. This is our first guest, the first star on Periscope. He took us on his walks all over Hong Kong. How expensive all the cornflakes were. Now he moved back to the USA. Andrew Leyden, aka Penguin 6.
How's it going, guys? Morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon for you.
Good morning, Andrew, and good afternoon to the rest of Europe. So welcome. So how are you and the family?
We're surviving as best we can. We haven't killed each other. That's an accomplishment when you got two boys who are running around. But we've absconded out of DC, and we're out on the Chesapeake Bay right now, which is about 25, 30 minutes from the city. And it's very peaceful, very isolated. In fact, there's a fox that keeps running around the yard. So if you see me jump up, that's because he's attacking or something. So.
Oh, he's attacking something in the garden.
Or attacking me, or he's just out here.
Oh, wow. And look at all the water. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And this is the wisteria have just come out. All the flowers have been blooming this week.
Oh, is it wisteria? Because I was going to say lilacs, but it's wisteria. Wow.
I'm going to vote wisteria. I don't really know.
No, I think it's wisteria. You're totally right. I just thought it was easy to say it's the lilacs because I see them. Hello. So I see some people from Brazil and stuff. But Andrew, why Penguin 6?
At the time when people were creating usernames, well before Periscope, I had an internet device company and I made Linux-based devices. And the mascot of Linux is a penguin. And I was reading a Tom Clancy novel, Rainbow Six, and it just sort of came Penguin 6. And so that was my call sign on PlayStation. And it was actually really popular. Other guys like, hey, where's Penguin 7? Are you guys like a clan or something? So I just sort of kept Penguin 6 as my social media moniker ever since then.
Yeah, because it's really easy to remember. I'm always like, oh, Penguin 6. But then your last name is Andrew Leyden, yeah?
Leyden, yeah.
Leyden. Is that a Dutch name?
No, it's Irish.
Oh, it's Irish.
It is an Irish name, but it's a Anglicization of an Irish name. And at the time, William of Orange was sweeping through much of Ireland. So the name Leyden, there were many O'Leydens of Leyden who were in Ireland at the time. So they just sort of Anglicized this Irish name into Leyden. Now, we've often wondered if it is Dutch. And I've actually talked to the University of Leiden, and they're talking about it. And but they said, no, there is actually a distinct, separate thing, though we do think there was a familiarity in such that they named it that. It's O'Loydian was the Irish name, O'Loydian.
Okay.
But now I guess in archaic Dutch, Leiden was spelled the same way as mine, Leyden. But I think you guys switched 30, 40, 50 years ago. and now it starts to spell with an I.
Exactly. So that's why I
Yeah.
was like, oh, maybe there's something Dutch in there. And if you guys didn't know, I'm Dutch.
Yeah.
So then, then I have a question here. Adam
Yeah.
Yaffe on YouTube. He said, how long ago did Andrew leave Hong Kong?
I left Hong Kong almost 2 years ago. Now, we are technically on a temporary assignment here in Washington, D.C. for a 2 year period. Uh, the we came over. One of the things all expats go through is that we've been brought up a certain way. We've been brought up with the American school system, or we've been brought up with the Dutch university system. And when you go somewhere else, you always wonder, am I doing the right thing for my kids? Is it better to go back? Is it better to do this? And you don't know the answer. There's no way to know the answer.
Yeah.
We had this opportunity to come here ostensibly for 2 years and try out the American schools and make a comparison to how he was doing in the Hong Kong schools. So we took the opportunity, and now we're in a constant balancing act. I would say pretty much on all regards, we prefer to be in Hong Kong, with the exception of the schools. The schools are considerably more suited to getting to the American university system, or even the British university, well, not the British, but the American university system from this school than the school they are in Hong Kong. So what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
You sacrifice noodles for 5 years and keep them here. And that's kind of what it's looking like. We haven't made a decision, to be honest. There are a lot of other factors at play. Hong Kong has had a very rough 2 years since I left.
Yeah, exactly.
But now the United States isn't really doing that much better. The situation is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then like, because how do you think like that will work with traveling in the future? Because you're talking like, oh, maybe like back to Hong Kong, or maybe not, or.
Well, we were looking at maybe commuting for a while, doing some work in Hong Kong, coming back for months and stuff like that. But that lifestyle is gone.
Yeah, that's off the record. Yeah,
that's gone for 2 years. See, one of the things is, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, is we lived through SARS in Hong Kong. I mean, we've done this. We've been there, done that. And the thing that I recall the most was the last case of SARS was May or June of 2003. But Hong Kong was in this weird state literally for 18 months. This went on. This is going to go on for the day after the final case. You're still going to have this weird continuation of certain practices that is going to go on for months or even years.
Because like in Hong Kong, like with SARS, you had to wear the masks,
well,
and so
it was a total shutdown too. Yeah, we everything was closed. No stores, no schools, nothing for a month, and the mask. SARS was much more fatal than this one, but not as easily spread, that we've now learned. But at the time, everyone was afraid of their neighbor. Everyone was afraid to touch the elevator button or hold the escalator handrail. The city, the Hong Kong government, and the Hong Kong people made serious adjustments to their lifestyle. I'll give you an example. In southern China, it's considered good luck to spit. All right, not good luck, but it's a way to get the bad.
We still see it.
Yeah, you skip this, like that.
Yeah.
And they still do that in a lot of parts of China, but in Hong Kong, they cracked down on that really hard, and they said, "Don't do that." And we saw a decline in that in Hong Kong, and we saw more care taken to cleaning the streets after SARS. So there was a lot of little, and we saw, like, for example, even today or pre-coronavirus, escalator buttons were desanitized several times a day. I mean, they literally came out, sprayed wash on the escalators and the elevators. They cleaned the buttons. They cleaned the public contact surfaces, the handrails, the escalators, the subway. They switched to this style of living. And of course, if people were sick, they wore a mask. And that just sort of became ingrained in the culture. And I think some of those changes we're going to start to see in the West as we ramp out of this.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, no, but I think this is also the only way how we can restart the economy again, like by wearing masks. We will not be able to go into public transport without a mask. We will not be able to go into a big department store without a mask. They only can allow us to reintegrate all that if we wear a mask, which I think is.
That's how we are in DC. And the DC area has barred going to grocery stores, public transit, etc., without a mask.
Mm.
So you know, and it can, you know, some people just wearing a scarf or a
Yeah,
t-shirt.
I have
Yeah,
still scarves and stuff, but
yeah.
yeah. Hey, and what's your routine with the kids during this pandemic?
Babysitter glorious. So the one thing is their school is a very traditional, I'd say British style boarding prep school.
Yeah.
And they have adopted a very structured approach to school learning. So, for example, at 8:30 every day is their first class. At 9 o'clock, they switch to their next class, et cetera, et cetera. Now, some days the teachers are like, I don't need to physically see you today, but I need you to read 2 chapters and write this report. And then 11:30, they have a school lunch. The headmaster comes up and gives a prayer and a blessing, and then some of the kids Zoom with each other as they eat lunch, and then they go back. Probably about 2 o'clock, they start to wind down, 2 or 2:30. And then after that, the problem is the pull. All the kids have their devices out, and the pull is to pull them back on and let's play a game together. Let's do this. And, you know, our goal is get out of the house. So we usually have fights about 2:30, 3 o'clock every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. But you're doing lunch in between, yeah? Like,
yeah. I don't want to make it today. I'm making Nando's chicken actually.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the kids haven't had Nando's in like a month and a half, and so I went out and I got some Nando's sauce, and I'm gonna rotisserie a chicken this afternoon.
And what is Nando's? Because I'm European. Yeah.
Nando's is peri peri chicken. It's a Mozambique Portuguese style chicken that was brought to the UK about 10 years ago, and it's spread to the point that there are more Nando's than there are Starbucks in England. And now it's started to spread to the colonies. You know, Nando's in Singapore and Australia and places like that. I think there's Australia.
Yeah.
And it's just a rotisserie chicken, but with this really spicy peri peri sauce that kids get addicted to. So that'll be dinner today. Yesterday, I think I made them chicken wings because I was really lazy. We alternate. It's Asian food one day and it's American food the next day. So we generally go back and forth.
Yeah, because you are multicultural at home, yeah?
Yeah. In fact, they're getting yelled at in Chinese right now. I think the wife is in there screaming at them.
Oh wow! So they are bilingual, or they speak another bilingual.
They speak Chinese and English. My younger son studies Spanish for school, but it's not. It's actually very interesting because he doesn't want to study Spanish. He knows he will start studying Chinese in 2 years, so he just does not care about Spanish. It's frustrating because it's a required course.
Yeah.
My older son is far more bilingual. He was brought up speaking Chinese until he was 3. He really didn't speak English until he was about 4.
Oh wow.
And then he actually wants to pick up French. So I've taught him a little bit of French. My French is awful, but I can read a lot of French, but I can't really speak it. I think that's how a lot of people start a new language.
Yeah, but so his future will be Canada then?
I don't know. Somewhere. We haven't really fully discussed it. He could easily go to England, Oxbridge type or Imperial or something like that, or stay here in the States. He's doing exceptionally well academically at a school that is generally a feeder for some of the top universities in the country.
Oh, that's great.
If they're bumming at school, we'd be back on a plane over to Hong Kong. But,
and I just got a comment here that somebody says, I like peri peri sauce.
Oh, yeah. It's a good spice, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine sauce. Send some to
you. So you were the first superstar on Periscope. I have to.
Yeah, I got lucky.
You got lucky. What did it bring to you? What's like?
Well, what had happened was I had been hearing a lot about these new live streaming apps, and I was like, oh God, another social network. I don't want to deal with this. And then Periscope came out, and I was already on Twitter, and I was up walking my normal walk. So I said, why don't I just try it right now? And I tried it and this was day 1 of the public release.
Oh, really?
And I was up on the peak. And the Periscope engineers were just like, oh my God, we've reached all the way to Asia already. This is, there's a guy in Hong Kong. And of course, the view from up there is just like panoramic. And they went crazy. They're like, they were excited that it spread so wide. and that we had something interesting, not just a talking head or a ceiling to show. So
Or a shower scope.
yeah, a shower scope or refrigerator scopes,
Oh
I think,
yeah,
were really popular
refrigerator
back then.
scope. Yeah.
So anyway, they made me the featured scoper of the week. So basically, everybody that joined Periscope that first week saw me as like, oh, why don't you follow this guy? And I didn't really know what was going on until like after 4 or 5 days, I had 12,000 followers. And I was like, oh, Jesus, what the heck? And the thing was, I was walking every day anyway, and I'd been walking that route 2 or 3 years prior to Periscope. So having Periscope was a way to it was a way to show off Hong Kong, and it was a way just to have someone to chat with. It's
Yeah.
always fun to see the city again through through new eyes.
Yeah, I
And
also see those kind of walks, like for myself, as kind of a dog walk, like
mhm.
you take your dog walk, but then you take Periscope, you walk around and you talk instead of to your dog. You just
Yeah.
walk and you're chatting to the world, which is fantastic. Yeah, so
Well, we
from
both have an advantage. We both had an advantage. We had cities that spoke for themselves.
exactly.
Paris, and that's why there are a lot of good scopers in Paris, I think. And you just walking down the street in Hong Kong was just a visual feast. And same in Paris. You don't even have to say much sometimes.
You just have to show the Eiffel Tower and people go
Yeah,
chuck 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 chuck. But like
exactly.
yeah, but in which way has like, because Adam asked it a little bit deeper, and that's what I was aiming for as well. How has the live streaming changed your life? Like, what kind of
Mm.
opportunity did you get through it?
Well, I haven't really. Well, I'm slightly bigger on social media now than I was. I had a small following and such, and I'm slightly more cognizant of what social media does. I haven't really taken it to the commercial level. I haven't really sought out any sponsors or anything like that, and I don't. I mean, I get offers occasionally. Hey, we wear our shoes or something like that, but it's just not really stuff I need to be doing.
Yeah, not from an influencer
But
point
it's
of view.
no, no. But I used to say when I was giving my speeches, people would say, well, what I found most interesting about live stream was people would watch my streams and they'd be like, oh my God, look at this guy. He's taking his morning hike up on a mountain over a city full of buildings. Look at this guy. He's riding the Star Ferry across a harbor to go to the toy store. Oh, he's on a double-decker tram to go get lunch. And people would be like, wow. And there was this like voyeuristic quality of them seeing another city. But slowly, as people started to watch more and more, I think it became more fascinating because they started to see, yeah, I was walking around a mountain, but I was also just taking a morning hike. And yeah, I wasn't a fairy, but I was just a guy going to buy toys for his kids. And yeah, I'm on a double-decker tram, but I'm just a guy going to lunch. And then people started to lose the other thing and start to realize, hey, this guy on the other side of the world is living a life very similar to me in Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas. He goes to lunch, he goes for walks, he goes buys toys for his kids. And I think that was the real meaning of Periscope. Periscope's motto originally was see the world through someone else's eyes. And it wasn't necessarily the voyeuristic, hey, see the Eiffel Tower, see the mountains of the peaks, see London, etc. It was to see that other people live their lives in some parts somewhat differently, but in some parts very, very similarly. I mean, you and I, we've never met physically, but you have a daughter and I have a son, and much of what you do is very similar to what I do, even though you
Exactly.
grew up in a different culture, in a different environment. I mean, we both make puffer jets,
Yeah.
but it's fascinating to see all these people around the world living very, very similar lifestyles. And that's what social media and live streaming has sort of brought, not just to me, but to others, I think.
Yeah, I get like a comment here from
Mhm.
Chris, and she says, "Tell Penguin 6 I most enjoyed his fish and chip scopes."
I do too. I miss that fish and chip place greatly. I've been in touch with him. I've begged him for his recipe, but he keeps it close to the vest.
Yeah. Then I have an other one from Adam again. Adam is saying, "Does Mrs. Andrew appreciate his streams, or is she not interested at all?"
She doesn't really pay attention to it. She is far more practical and business minded. She doesn't mind it, but she's very private. That's why I don't think she's ever appeared on any of my social media. In fact, the kids, I kind of sometimes I can't help it. The kids are with me, but generally I don't go out of the way to show the kids. So she's a very private person, and so she doesn't really understand it. Sometimes she's bemused by it. I gave a speech once at the Apple store in Hong Kong about live streaming, and I think 200 people watched or something. And she's just like, who are these people? She just couldn't quite understand it.
Yeah.
I think my record scope, we did all of the Hong Kong scopers did a joint scope one holiday in Hong Kong. And we took people around to different events. And this was backed by Twitter. I think I had 250,000 views on one 5-minute broadcast. And that just floored her. She's just like, why are 250,000 people watching you watch a dragon dance around the street? And I just like, it's a different world.
Yeah.
So.
No, but that's kind of magic. My husband also, he's like a little bit similar in that way. He does appear now and then, like just a little flash, and but he doesn't want to be confronted with me telling him things or saying things or asking him things live, because he knows how I am. And but then, like, we got invited through Periscope and to Disney, and we spent time there, and I'm like, and he's like enjoying it to the fullest. And then I'm like, yeah, can I film you for 5 seconds? No. I said, but how do you think I'm gonna survive doing this if you don't want to be filmed? But anyway, that's what it is. It's okay.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the models for a lot of people on social media, if you look at the YouTube channels that are successful, a lot of them are kind of banal. I mean, they're kind of like pranking each other, running crazy stunts, doing things. And I mean, they're fun to watch. They're funny, but they're not quite. That doesn't quite work for us.
No, exactly. Also because we are not as young as them.
Yeah, that's part of it. I thought of creating a channel like Crotchety Old Grandfather or something, in which I'd answer people's problems by being a crotchety old man.
Yeah.
But I just like, no, it's too much effort. It's just easier to be myself and just chill.
I have, by the way, tomorrow a guest who is an American YouTuber, but he lives in Paris, and he really makes a living out of it, but not in a banal way. Like you follow his life through how he sets it up here, and he's quite successful in it. So tomorrow there will be a whole story how somebody is doing that in an adult kind of way.
Like Casey Neistat, who is sort of the vlogger, the original vlogger, has definitely, he does it in an adult way. He doesn't have to go around, pulling his shorts down in front of a police car or something like that, or whatever some of these people do.
No, but he was just like, he was innovating something that didn't exist yet. That's what he was doing. But I think, I have the feeling he's totally burnt out because you don't see anything coming out.
I have vlogs. I have several vlogged episodes sitting on my computer, just no time to edit. I was like, well, I'm going to miss the cherry blossoms this year, that they closed it in DC. And I said, oh, wait a second, I didn't ever even edit my vlog from last year's cherry blossoms. Maybe I'll just put that up or something. It's just time.
I know, because like at one stage, there's so much information on the computer and so many films, like making a best of, or like just a little introduction who you are on YouTube. It's like, oh, I have to edit. And we are live streamers. We hate to edit. That's why we live stream, because we don't like editing. Then Rosemary Kumanjar is on Facebook, and she says, 2 of the originals. Been watching you both from the beginning, which is very nice to hear that. What does Andrew miss most from life and society in Hong Kong? And what has he gained, though, in the USA?
Well, the interesting thing is food, of course. I mean, that's the first response. You have to understand that every single place that I've eaten for the last 10 years, I can no longer get. I can't get any of the food that I've had for the last 10 years. It's not just my noodle shop or my fish and chip shop, but I mean, the chicken that I bought at the grocery store is different. It tastes different. The apples I bought are different. Every single thing has changed, and that's really the thing. But the bigger picture, sound a little bit weird, is that when you're an international expat living in another country, especially a country in which you're ethnically a minority and culturally a minority, you form a very strong community with other people like you. the community of expats that we had in Hong Kong. Expats is expatriates, for those who don't know. And we're very, very strong. These were people that we went to dinner with, we saw on the streets, we went to vacations with, we went to school with them. I mean, it was just a really, really tight community. And it was made that way because everybody is 6,000 miles away from home and they don't know anybody else. And so they all sort of pulled together. And everybody is maybe 2 degrees of separation from everybody else. Oh, you're at Goldman. Oh, I know this guy. He used to be at Goldman, but now he's at Chase. Oh, he works with my cousin or something. It was just this really, really tight community. Whereas we come back to the U.S. and the community system, there's strong communities here, but they're not as open. They're what we call silos. Well, these are, we went to this university, or we believe this church, or we believe this political group, or we live in this neighborhood, or that. So there's all these different silos. And as you get older, it becomes harder and harder to break into these silos.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife, and so it's, we're back here, and honestly, we're still on a day-to-day basis, we are more in touch with our friends in Hong Kong than the friends we've made here.
Wow.
It's just because of how it is. We have friends here, we're polite and all that, but up to the level that you are polite in American society. Whereas in Hong Kong, because it's almost a survival kind of thing, you're all together, you're much tighter. You're just much tighter.
Yeah, because also the children, they are older now. So they are also, you don't get the parents as a friend with them. It's not a package deal. I always say, because now they have their own little group and friends, and that doesn't mean you're going to hang out with the parents. And they're like, Mom, just drop me, or Pop, just drop me. I'm fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey,
so that's part of the change.
Yeah. And just to go back to, because this was a question from Adam in between, but how do you see the future of Periscope? Because I always get asked about that. So I have to ask you, what is your view on the future of Periscope?
Well, I preface this, I have not been in touch with the Periscope staff in almost a year. I used to kind of regularly talk to them, but they've had tremendous turnover in their division. Some of the people I know are still there, some are not. I think Periscope, let's put it this way, Twitter will always have a live video presence. If you look back at some of the statements that have been made by the Twitter hierarchy, they recognize they have 2 distinct platforms. They have what's called the Bluebird platform, and that's Twitter. And that's the interface, the structure of Twitter, all of that. And then they never really named it, but they have another platform, and that's Periscope. Periscope exists as a separate brand, a separate interface, a separate user experience than Twitter. They have said they want to pull that into the Bluebird environment. They want to. But conversely, they don't want to lose the user base in Periscope. And that's what I don't think anyone has really sorted out an answer to that. They did, what they did with Vine is generally regarded as a disaster.
Yeah, stupid. That was the most stupid thing they ever did.
Exactly. And so they've got this other product, Periscope, and they don't want to recreate that disaster. I mean, you look at TikTok. I mean, TikTok is because they screwed up on Vine. I mean, TikTok exists because Vine self-destructed, and TikTok is now a $1 billion company.
But I think also it's not only because of Vine. I think also because Snapchat made a couple of wrong moves. That's why TikTok got.
Yeah, Snapchat and Vine. There was a market for that type of environment,
yeah,
and I think there's a market for live streaming, and they don't want to shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, it's interesting, is how Facebook Live, because the people are there, is there, but YouTube Live isn't really grown as a standalone platform. I mean, we're simulcast right now, but I'm sure your YouTube numbers are probably nowhere near your Periscope numbers, and same with me. And I think we both have about 2,000 followers on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I have only 1,300, but yeah.
Yeah, guys, follow her on YouTube, okay?
Oh yeah, follow. You see, ChantalTV and Penguin 6. That's why it's marked underneath. Yeah. You can follow us on all the social media. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We
Yeah,
are those names everywhere. So
exactly.
it's there. It's there. It's advertised. I just
Yeah.
see John Ho is saying, "Hey, you too." Hello,
Hey, John. Hey,
hello,
John.
hello.
Oh, I must be in
Um,
theater mode.
um, yeah, no, because I heard even Jack mention in an interview once that he saw Periscope as an experimental, uh, an experimental kind of platform, which I thought was like, oops. Uh, um, so I am just a little experiment here with my followers and all
Yeah.
that. And
Well,
how are
I
we
think one of
gonna?
the good things that, Kayvon, the founder of Periscope, is now basically one of the top 3 or 4 guys at Twitter. So Periscope has a voice at the table. It was his baby. So we'll see how it goes as I don't know what's going on at Twitter corporate. If there's going to be any changes anytime soon.
Yeah, and I think also like what is still dangerous for Twitter, which of course Facebook had that problem recently, like it is live and there is no filter, which can
Hmm.
create really dangerous situations. And I think that Twitter is still a bit like, well, how are we gonna like legally get that
Yeah.
into Twitter? And also because this is something which is really weird. Every platform where we are, copyright issues are really big.
Huge.
Really,
It's a
really,
problem.
it's a real problem.
Well, especially
Periscope,
for us walking around.
yeah, but
Well,
Periscope,
yeah.
not really.
No, but like when I put my Periscope videos up on YouTube, I frequently get copyright notices because you walk past a pub and it was playing a stupid song. And it's just like, oh, it's got to edit that out or something like that. Yeah. And Periscope has never really complained unless you broadcast like a sporting event.
No, exactly. And like I even had like events that I would pass by, like this girl playing a violin next to the Notre Dame, like totally out of tune, and there was still a copyright claim for that song. And I
Same.
was just
Yeah.
like, how the heck is that possible? She's
I
over
think
there.
yeah. I got one I was at Oktoberfest in Romania
Yeah.
and there was clown funk, with trumpets and saxophones. And I got a cover copyright notice that, this band was covering this song and you owe them part of the revenue. I was like, oh my God. I just
Yeah.
took the video down.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, what is really easy with YouTube, that's what I think. You can edit the sound out, or you can edit a part out. What I started to
Yeah.
use now on YouTube, so you can edit the live after, which would be. Can we suggest this to Periscope?
Yeah.
And
Just
also
give
to
us,
make a better search engine that we can organize our old Periscopes and have at least some playlists or something.
yeah, it would be nice to do. I don't, you're probably a Betascope user too, and we don't really have much coming down the pipe that I've seen. It's mostly minor little bug fixes. Um, I've been begging for years for higher quality video saves. Um, and it's frustrating because if you've ever watched the Chinese live streaming community and the Chinese live streaming apps,
Yeah.
those things are insane. The
Yeah.
stuff they're able to do,
Yeah.
not donations, and layovers, and multicams, and
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
it's just it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, the Chinese live streaming market.
Yeah, I went last year. I went to a Chinese social media event here in Paris because they were plugging like lots of things, and they were telling me that like some brands, if they worked with influencers that were doing sales in their live streams for 1 hour, they would turn over $250,000
It's just
on
some of these.
sales.
Yeah, it's just crazy stuff what these influencers are doing in Asia. I mean, John Ho's in the scope, and John can remember we did a shopping market tour once where we went through a street market in Hong Kong, and we would buy whatever anybody wanted and ship it to them. I think we sold 50 knickknacks from the street markets in Hong Kong, and we must have, John, I can't remember, but we must have been about 1,000, 2,000 US dollars in portable and selfie sticks, phone cases, super magnets, all sorts of just random knickknacks, and people just people went nuts. They just went crazy. The idea of online shopping and
Yeah, no,
whatnot.
but it's also very authentic because you're holding it and you're like the
Yeah,
one who
you
picks
want
it
this?
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. No,
they
it is,
loved
it
it.
is, it is like John is saying here. It's a different audience though. But
Yeah.
for example, like last Saturday, I had an I interviewed this local designer in Miami, and she was making masks.
Mm.
And through Periscope, lots of people bought masks and dresses and everything. I mean, I have nothing to do with it. It was just me talking with her, but she got lots of orders, and I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
strange. I often got, because I literally walked in kilometers. I would walk 20 to 30 kilometers a day.
Wow.
So it's like 10 to 14 miles a day. That was an average. My biggest days were much longer. I was frequently asked about my shoes. People would say, "What kind of shoes are you wearing?" And I would always ASIS. I always wear the same type of shoe, and I would show them, and I would get messages back. I bought your shoes. I bought because I walk a lot, or I'm on my feet a lot, and I was just like, God, okay. So I mean, and this was just some guy who walks a lot
Yeah.
telling them what shoes to buy, and
Yeah.
they still went with the recommendations.
Yeah, but that's really cool. I'm just trying to think if I had specific, like the only thing that people really bought like from using was the Insta360 camera.
Yeah, we sold a few of those too. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
was
That was just like that was every time, and still when I go live, people want to see, people want to buy, people want to know what it is because it's magic. They want to do the magic, and it's
yeah.
that. Yeah, I think that
I
is
haven't
the.
used mine in a while.
You
I
should.
need to get the newer one. I have to get the one you have.
Yeah, but you know what it is like the newer ones with the problem. I have like a supersonic one here at home.
Mm.
It's 8K, but
Oh God.
I mean, seriously, how's my computer is exploding? It's just
Yeah.
it's just like I at the moment something it goes like there's like fire coming out of it. No, but that takes too long to process and to stitch all the edges, and it can go live on 4K, but then the sound is not good. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it is
No,
really hard.
it's funny because John Ho and I went to Insta360's offices in Shenzhen back when they came out the first camera, and they showed us the original 8K camera. It was the size of a volleyball, and they were like, "Oh, this is $25,000." And now here we are. You've got one in your pocket.
Yeah.
You're not even using.
No, yeah, no. This is a different company, but it
Yeah.
is like 8K. It is like I think it costs like $600 now, so
Oh wow.
it's not as expensive. But
Mm.
yeah, at one stage I'm like, it's also the emotion. It's not like how many Ks I'm broadcasting. You know what I mean? Like it's just like
Oh
numbers and numbers and numbers.
yeah, the bandwidth was always horrible, especially for our type of walking around videos. Doing the 360 was just
Yeah.
destroyed our bandwidth.
Yeah, because you need at least like 6 MBs, I think,
Yeah.
for 360. And in front of my house, I have only 6, and then when I go further, then it's like 150. So if it goes up and down, then like whoop, the stream drops and everything. Yeah, and then John Ho is saying crazy how technology improves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, an interesting question here. What is Andrew's 5 and 10 year plan? Where will he retire?
That's I don't think I'll ever retire because I'm already kind of retired, so I'm not going to do anything differently.
Yeah.
I in my youngest will be in university in 7 or 8 years. He'll start university, and at that point, it doesn't really matter where we are. Retiring in Hong Kong is not realistic. The rent in Hong Kong is 9,000 US a month. That's just insanity.
And the cereal is like $12.
Yeah. Milk is 14 a gallon.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Mental.
Yeah,
So,
no, I remember that.
it was just crazy. And that's but I don't. We often describe, and I talk about what we call the curse of the expat. The curse of the expat is that you like certain things about some places but no one place in the world has everything you like. Um, I like the poffertjes in Amsterdam. I like the French fried potatoes I had in Moscow. I like the noodles in Hong Kong. I like the barbecue I get down the street here. No one place around the world will ever have everything I like. And that's kind of a curse, you know. It's like, oh, this is a good sandwich, but I remember this one I had overseas and it was better. So, in an ideal world where I win the lottery, I'll have 5 or 6 houses around the world. Literally, I'll have 5 or 6 apartments. In fact, I'll have one in Paris.
And
And
no pandemic, so we can
yeah,
fly
no
around.
pandemic, so I can go actually get to them.
Exactly. Because otherwise
But
you're just like sitting in one of those houses. Ooh, that Paris one is really nice, but I can't
yeah,
get to it.
I'm stuck. Well, we've been dealing with our China friends who we had to, some of them go back and they had spent 2 weeks in quarantine, and then they went to Hong Kong and they had another 2 week quarantine, and then they went back another 2 week. It's just like, oh, this is just
Yeah,
crazy.
that's
And these are people who have to travel for business. I mean, we're talking multi-billion-dollar events. They have to, they have to
yeah,
move to get these things done. But
yeah.
who knows?
No, exactly. And then Earl is saying that is just life. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it is. Do you have something to add to this little talk we've had?
mm, not
Because
much. It's just I can show you the view. I can actually sit up
yeah,
because
because you have to see there. That is one thing I want to retire next to an ocean.
yeah. This is the Chesapeake Bay. I mean, the ocean is down there, but there are dolphins and occasionally sharks out here.
Oh wow. Wait, let me
And
just let me make you like in a big view. Hold on. I'm just gonna switch
uh,
myself off and I'm gonna switch our names away. Look
yeah,
at that, guys. Look at that beautiful view.
yeah.
Wow.
So I still
Because
have you.
this is also where the Kennedy lady and son
Yep,
drowned last week, no?
yep, just up there. I did a scope that day. We were down on our seawall, but that was just up at that peninsula, about 5-10 miles away. Actually, the fireboats from this area responded, and there was a plane all day looking for them. They found
Wow.
the bodies, unfortunately.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, it's a pretty day.
So you're sitting in the garden now.
Yeah, just my backyard,
Wow, it is
and
it is truly amazing. But look at that, you have a little paradise there.
it's peaceful and calm. It's quite boring as well, but it's the place to be during a pandemic.
Yeah, no,
It's
but
definitely.
I mean, I see that you have to do a little bit of gardening, though.
Oh God, yeah, all the time.
Not to
Ugh.
be criticizing you, but you need to do a
No,
little bit of gardening.
it's never ending. It's never ending. I mean, I haven't mowed a lawn in like 10 years, and now I'm just like, ugh, and then clipping these things, and
No, but it
so
looks like it's absolutely stunning there. Very now, but thank you so much,
sure.
Andrew,
Well, thanks for having me on.
for this interview or for this chat or whatever we
Yeah,
call it. Wait, let me put your name again under your face.
no worries.
And yeah, so guys, make sure to follow Andrew at Penguin6 on all social media. One of the first big periscopers, our king. Um, and
Uh,
there he types his
Pretender.
pretender. There he types his little name, so you can just click and follow. And when will be your next scope or next broadcast?
Oh, actually, sometime this week. I might. There's the other side of the house is a forest.
Oh
It goes for
wow!
about 2-3 miles. That's why the fox keeps running around here.
Oh wow!
So probably got to go for a hike in the forest. I actually have to chainsaw some trees because some stuff fell down. Well, I'll chainsaw those, and then I'll be able to go for a hike in the forest.
So you do
But
have to do some gardening then.
yeah, lots of.
Yeah.
We've actually got some garden beds over here. I'm gonna. It's still too cold. It's actually quite chilly.
Oh really?
Um, yeah, we still have frost warnings. We still could have a frost.
Oh
So
wow!
I haven't planted yet, but we're going to put vegetables in, mostly Asian vegetables because they're so hard to find here.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so we're going to grow some Asian vegetables here for my wife to eat. We
Oh
envision being out here for a couple months.
oh wow!
Um, I mean, it's kind of frustrating to keep paying rent for an apartment in the city, but what are we going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, but thank you so much for this talk. Lots of people are saying thank you and
Yeah,
love Penguin
but,
Six and everything. And
yeah,
stay safe.
You too.
And hello to the family, and see you soon live. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
hope to see you. Let's
Yeah.
look for invaders together.
Yeah, exactly. Bye.
Bye bye.